Now, some of you were salivating at the mouth for these Triple G numbers to come out. Just like some of you were salivating at the mouth for those Mayweather Berto pay-per-view numbers to come out. I've seen a lot of uploaders, give their opinion about these numbers from Triple G, if it's a success, if it was a fail. To me, to tell you the truth, man, I really don't give a fuck about pay-per-view numbers. I never have. Even back when I was watching Mike Tyson, and they would bring up his numbers, they would say the numbers, but I never took that into consideration when I was ranking Mike Tyson. I never said, man, Mike Tyson, he has a good left hook. He's a good inside fighter, or he's a pay-per-view draw. I never put that into the equation. Just like with Floyd Mayweather, just like with De La Hoya. Now, if we're talking about the business side of it, then yeah, you put it into the equation. But me, I've never been a businessman fan. And I know a lot of you guys are. And like I've said, some of you guys know way more about the business than me. I probably know 1/16 of the business as some of you uploaders, because you guys are accountants and lawyers and a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So I leave that up to you guys. And I listen to your channels and I'll read your comments to learn more about the business of boxing. But I really don't care about these numbers. And my estimation was the fight would do between 100 and 300,000. And whether that's a success or a failure, I really didn't care. Like, those are just my opinions about the numbers. Just like when, Mayweather fought Berto. And the reason I'm bringing Mayweather, because it's just inevitable, man. Like, people are just going to keep bringing his name up. So I have to add him into this equation, because everybody I've communicated with, videos I watch, Floyd Mayweather's name has been added to this because of his Berto fight. And fans and media were shitting on the Berto numbers, so why aren't people shitting on the Golovkin numbers? That's the argument I'm hearing. I have a great idea. How about just put Triple G in there with Floyd Mayweather and they fight? How about that? And I'm not saying who will win or lose. I don't give a fuck. Like, I really, on the YTBC, it's hard having conversations sometimes, because it's like you have to ride with the other side. You can't, just look at both sides objectively, the pros and cons of both. You can't. You have to be on one side of the fence. And that's just not me. I can't. So I really don't care about the numbers. And I don't give a fuck if the numbers were he sold 1 million with Lemieux. It was Lemieux. Any fucking pay-per-view with David Lemieux in it is not going to sell, 1 million buys, 700,000 buys. It's just not going to do it. And I don't give a fuck who he's fighting, who's on the opposite side. It could have been Marvin Hagler. It could have been a prime Ray Leonard. It wouldn't have mattered. Not to say that Triple G is on their level, but I'm saying you put David Lemieux in the pay-per-view, and I don't think it's going to sell like that. Now, he was an IBF champion. I know his skill level wasn't up to some of you. Some of you think he was an amateur. I just respected a man as having an IBF title. Now, I can sit here and break down styles. Yeah, he isn't the most stylistic fighter I've ever seen fight. But I just respected him for having an IBF strap. And he was in the way of, Triple G trying to unify. There's only one fighter, man, that can literally fight the milkman and sell over 1 million pay-per-views. And that fighter was Mike Tyson. People like to forget him. And, I know that Floyd Mayweather has the most pay-per-view buys of any fighter. I know that that's a fact. I can't sit here and argue that fact. But when it comes to just sheer popularity, no matter who you were fighting, whether it was an Andre Berto type of fighter or David Lemieux type of fighter, they will always come out to watch. It was Mike Tyson, man. He fought Peter McNeely and sold, was it 1.4 with Peter McNeely? Now, some of you may argue, oh, it's because, Tyson was coming off his incarceration. I understand that. I don't give a fuck if he was coming out of incarceration. He was coming out of graduating from college. He was coming out of being baptized. I really don't care. He sold 1.4 with Peter McNeely. That's sheer popularity to me when it comes to pay-per-view numbers. And that's a fact. Now, we can't argue that fact, right? But it's also a fact that Floyd sold the most. He is popular too, But Triple G with these numbers, they don't really mean anything to me because a lot of things go into being, you know, a pay-per-view star, man. And a lot of you, you know, I was reading guys saying, oh, I don't want to hear the excuse that this is his first pay-per-view and the numbers are low. It's like, well, dude, everybody fucking starts off low with pay-per-views. That's just being fair and honest, man. Like, why can't you just be fair and honest about it? You don't have to like Triple G. You can think he doesn't have a jab. You can think his skills are inept. You can think whatever. That's fine. But you just can't be fair and just sit down and just talk about it. Like, tell me one fighter on his first pay-per-view sold 1 million buys. Now, I just, you know, gave you an example of how popular Mike Tyson was. He can, you know, sell high pay-per-views with a fucking Peter McNeely. You know, but it's like, it's his first pay-per-view. And then some of you are saying, oh, well, he was so hyped up and so this and that. His first pay-per-view should have been 1 million. See, he ain't popular. It's like, you're not being logical, man. Everybody's fucking hyped up to some degree before their first pay-per-view. That's why they're on pay-per-view. And this isn't a fucking Triple G defense video. It's just like, dude, like, that's just normal logic. You know, and I'm not sure Triple G will ever fucking sell 1 million pay-per-views. I just don't think he's popular of a pay-per-view fighter for that to happen. But it could happen. Should have happened with Pacquiao. You know, so, but then, you know, maybe some of you will argue that Pacquiao was hyped up before his first pay-per-view. I don't even know what the fuck that means, man. Like, everybody's hyped up to some degree before a fucking network decides to put you on pay-per-view. Do you think they just say, you know, let's take in just an unknown guy, some obscure motherfucker, and throw on pay-per-view? No. They hype you up and build you up before they put you on pay-per-view. And for some of you, you know, this pay-per-view, and, you know, you keep comparing Mayweather and Golovkin, you can't compare him because Floyd Mayweather's on another fucking level of pay-per-view. That's just being logical and just the facts. We know that. So why are we even trying to compare Golovkin to Floyd as far as pay-per-view? You know, instead of doing that, let's just make them fight. Oh, don't want that though. That's being too real, right? That's too real. And I know, how about Triple G fight Ward? Okay, have him fight Ward. See, I'm not protecting no fighter, but it's just, some of you are just so single-minded, and that's fine, that's your opinion, but I communicate with y'all, man. So, you know, it's just like, damn, I don't think Triple G is ever going to, you know, sell millions of pay-per-views. I just don't. And it's not because of him or I'm being a hater. No, but what I think he will do, I think he'll sell the house out. I think he'll have MSGs jumping off the chain. I think he'll have the Staples Center jumping off the chain. I think he can go to Monaco and all these other countries and have it jumping off the chain. I think he can do that. That's something I think he can do. And a lot of fighters can't get it cracking like that, whether you want to admit it or not. Whether you want to say, oh, my favorite fighter has too many haters. I don't give a fuck. Not too many can get it cracking like MSG was last Saturday, like a Golovkin. It takes a Cotto to bring his fucking, you know, Puerto Rican fan base to the Garden. We know, you know, shout out to all my Ricans in New York. They come out to watch that man. Mexican fans, they come out to watch their fighters. They'll go sell out the whole fucking place out in San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? The Alamo Dome. I mean, they'll go sell that shit out. You know, and I'm not saying, you know, Terrence Crawford, he gets it cracking, you know, the little venue out in Nebraska, out in Omaha, and I know Andre Ward, you know, has a nice fan base in Oakland. But the thing about Triple G is he can go all over the fucking country, man. It's not just a home base for him. It's all over. Cali, New York. I mean, that's just the truth. That's just looking at it truthfully, man. That's the truth. The crowd fucking cheering his name, whether you like him or not. So I think on that aspect, he will remain popular. But pay-per-views, not sure he's going to be this big pay-per-view sensation. He might be, but just from looking at it, I don't know. He could. I really don't know, man. You know, Floyd Mayweather wasn't this huge fucking pay-per-view sensation. Actually, he was the B-side. People keep bringing up the Oscar fight. It's like, that's how I know a lot of you motherfuckers ain't really, you know, was Floyd Mayweather fans from years ago. That's how I know some of you are like 2010 Mayweather fans. And that's cool. That's all right. You got to be a fan of him. You know, you have to start somewhere. But the motherfuckers act like they've been following his whole career. You're lying, because you would know if you really followed him and watched all of his fights. You would know he fought Gotti on a pay-per-view. I ordered that fight when I used to live in Wisconsin. I ordered that fight, and he was the B-side. It was Thunder and Lightning. That was the name of the pay-per-view. He was the B-side to Gotti. He went in there and beat the sleeves off little poor Gotti. Rest his soul. That boy shouldn't have been 100 yards within the ring with pretty boy Floyd. Another one bites the dust. But yeah, man, I'm just kicking it with y'all right now. But YTBC, I don't care about pay-per-views. And again, I'm not saying it because they're low, because I predicted between 100 and 300,000. But I don't care about pay-per-view. I just don't. And I don't think he's going to be this big, you know, million buy type of fighter. I don't. Not just him alone, not fighting the David Lemieux. I know that for a fact. But Lemieux was in the way of being undisputed. But nobody starts off with a million pay-per-view buys. Unless I'm wrong. I don't know everything about boxing, but unless I'm wrong, I don't remember nobody starting out like that. I don't remember the guy with the most pay-per-views of all time, Mayweather, starting out like that. He started off as the B-side 2 times. That De La Hoya fight wasn't the first B-side for him. That was his second B-side. But that's all right, though. Because he went in there and beat the hell out of Gotti, who was looked at as the, you know, modern day, you know, real life Rocky. Whooped that ass. And then he beat De La Hoya, who was the pay-per-view cash cow. Golovkin is not going to get that clout off one pay-per-view with fucking David Lemieux. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know why some of you are so eager to attack this and to get on it. It's like, motherfucker, we knew this. Like, did you really think he was going to sell 600, 700,000 pay-per-views? Just like when Mayweather with his paper, I knew that shit was going to sell way under 1 million. I didn't even make a video about it. I didn't care. I like Mayweather as a fighter, not because of his pay-per-view clout. Like, I don't give a fuck. But like I said, you know, if we want to really see how much Triple G can do, throw him in there with a fight where he will be an underdog in. Like a Ward fight or a Kovalev fight, something like that, where he may be an underdog, a betting underdog, then maybe that pay-per-view might do some skyrocket numbers. But just like, you know, Mayweather proved with Berto, fans are going to get, you know, they're not going to like 80 to 1, 60 to 1, 20 to 1 odds going into pay-per-view fights. Only guy I told you I really seen can pull that off was Mike Tyson. He did 1.4 with Peter McNeely. All right, I'm spending way too much time talking about pay-per-view. YTBC, I'm out.